So he's back at his old school, which is good because I don't even think I ever brought it up in any of my videos. I can't remember. But Chris was dealing with a bullying issue. But no, people were calling him names. Like, I'm not just saying boogerhead, things like that. No, calling him a BIT and things like that. For me, Xavier's swim class is just for him to be an excellent swimmer. So he is not put in any situations where he can drown. All right, this is terrible lighting. All right, are you gonna catch up? So this is the first full week of school. School started on Thursday. It was, as a matter of fact, first of all, good morning, friend. Forgot to say that. It was Xavier's first year in high school, so he's a freshman. This is terrible lighting, so I am so sorry, y'all. Is that better? Yeah, it might be better. Hold on. Or should I just get out the car? I should just get out the car. That's better. So yeah, it was Xavier's first full day of high school, and Chris is back at his old school. They got rid of the challenge program, and I think it was just funding cuts or whatever, because most of the challenge kids didn't take the bus that would have been free to them. Their parents drove them. So they changed it to where the kids go back to their regular homeschools, and excuse me, they switched it over to just honors for elementary, because it's honors in middle school. So he's back at his old school, which is good because I don't even think I ever brought it up in any of my videos. I can't remember, but Chris was dealing with a bullying issue at his other school, which I thought was going to be better there, but it was actually worse than anything, because what he was going through at his old school, which is not his current school, it was just annoyance. But no, people were calling him names. Like, I'm not just saying boogerhead, things like that. No, calling him a BIT and things like that. Like, he, for Mother's Day, decided to pick some flowers, and they were like, I think they were called Miss Kim, something, and it was like really fitting, and he was trying to protect them so he can give them to me, because I get there early, and after recess he walks by the car, so he was going to give it to me. And so these kids were trying to take them out of his hand. He's trying to hold them on, and they're calling him well, I'll bleep that out, and all kinds of stuff, because he's picking flowers for his mom. There's another kid, because they had homerooms, and the kid was in his homeroom. He wasn't in the challenge program, and it started him calling him Megamind and all this other stuff. But then it like grew into, you eat garbage, you like garbage, all this other stuff. And I'm trying to explain to Chris, like, he feels bad about himself, so he's trying to make you feel bad, but and then it went into hitting. Like, it was an ordeal. Anyway, so Chris is happy being back at his old school because he doesn't have to deal with stuff like that. But the kid that was annoying him in second grade, he would like come up to Chris and just go Chihuahua. That's all he would do. But it's certain triggers that he does not like, and it just ruins his whole day. So, he's been gone a whole year. Chris said he got on the swings. The kid had recess with him, sat next to him, and went Chihuahua. Chris just got up and walked away. I said, Chris, would you rather someone come up to you and just saying Chihuahua, or someone calling you and hitting you? So, it's what we have to deal with. Xavier on his first day, like, we went through 2 walkthroughs. I walked through that school with him at least 3 or 4 times. So he did on an additional 3 or 4 times. He gets to school, decides to get breakfast. I'm like, we really practice mostly coming from the direction in which he's going to enter into high school. He goes around to the other side because the school is huge. Gets lost, but in the middle of the day, see, there's no excuse for this. Xavier is not a dumb kid. He has an AP class, he has honors class, like, he's not. But he is not observant. They have room numbers and the teacher's name large going across this poster. He goes to the wrong AP geography class. He goes to one for seniors. He's the only freshman. He said he walked in, he said they were all like over 6 feet to him with beards bigger than Pops. And he sat there for 10 minutes until he realized he was in the wrong AP class. And so he was like a half an hour late for his AP class. I mean, you know, it's high school. Teachers don't want to hear excuses. And I'm like, how do you do that? How did you even do that? He was late to almost all his classes, but he was super late to that class. But he is not liking it because they put him in a class with a kid that he has had issues with in middle school. So that's his first class with him. And then he has another class with some kids that he doesn't care for from his old school. But for the most part, he's not a fan of high school right now. And I told him too, sorry for you. You know, he's used to these elementary schools and middle schools, you know, being super lenient about certain things. And now he's somewhere where it's a little bit more stricter unless you're a star athlete. Because he was saying that athletes can sit on their phones. You're not, in Illinois, you're not supposed to have, and in a lot of states, have your phone out during class, but the athletes are able to. And so he's noticing that and how unfair it is when you're an athlete. I would think that would, you know, push him to want to join sports. But I understand that my child does not have the work ethic for sports. He is very good at a lot of things. Coaches, teachers, students tell him he should join track. He doesn't want to. We have spent a lot of money in his swim lessons in hopes that, and with him claiming to be a goal of him joining the swim team, and he won't take the time to go to the pool, you know, on his own to get in extra laps in between classes. So for me, Xavier's swim class is just for him to be an excellent swimmer, so he is not put in any situations where he can drown. You understand me? I didn't learn how to swim, and I have been put in a lot of situations of drowning, even in the ocean, because my friends are like, oh, you're tall, you could go out further. And then the tide came in, and then when the tide came in, they forgot I couldn't swim. They go to shore and leave me out there. I was running for my life. I was in Florida. Oh my God, trying to get back to shore. Them hoes didn't even... I digress. We have had a whole week of rain. Xavier did mow the backyard. The sun was on the grass, so it dried out enough for him to mow it before it rained again that evening. But I have not mowed the front yard in maybe 2 or 3 weeks. No, I want to say 2 weeks. But with all the rain, it is taller than I would like. And the weeds are actually starting to be really bad. My nasturtiums were dying off, but now they're coming back. But you see the weeds are coming in here. Weeds, I gotta pick up sticks. I have all kind of weeds in here, but the worst of the weeds are in this flower bed. Like, there's a plant in there, so I'm gonna have to, let me zoom out. I'm gonna work on this today, and I'm gonna mow the lawn. I'm also gonna get my weed spray if my hose is not surrounded by spider webs. We are in the spider, what am I going to call it? The webbening, the fall, especially the orb spiders have showed up. So like I have to go out and what is it? Whatever with my stick as I'm walking in the garden, because there's just spider webs everywhere. This is going to be my documentation of me coming out of my funk to get my ish together. And so, I've been going out in the garden. I picked as much as I could before all the rain, so I wouldn't have vegetables that are split. I did go out there 2 days ago, and I did have some splitting, but it was just a handful of tomatoes, so it wasn't bad. And I harvested some strawberries and things like that. So just me trying to stay up on the garden. But now I'm going to start working on the front yard. I am not going to weed all the garden beds, even though all the garden beds need it. I'm just going to do that. You can hear the yearly cicadas are in full effect. They weren't so bad in June and July, but now they're like, crunch time, we need to mate. And they're starting to get a little crazy with their flight patterns, and I'm not appreciating that too much. But we're going to see how this goes. So I'm going to stop yapping. I'm going to get my chair because I don't want to keep bending over to do these weeds, but I don't know where my chair went to. Oh, and then I'll update the Black Girl vitamins. I think I've been taking it for 2.5 weeks or so. The B12 and the PCOS, I will say I do see a difference in my energy level a little bit. As far as the hair growth, maybe a little slow down, but I still need to wax. You know, I'm not seeing as much hair on as usual. Like, it's not looking like a grizzly, but it's still enough. It's my lawn bag, but I gotta get this ready anyway, because when they come for this, for your lawn debris, they come early in the morning. This place could get really weedy because my driveway floods when it rains a lot, so this area gets a lot of water. And so the weeds kind of, if I don't stay on top of it, I have a field day. And I've been noticing over the years, especially with the rose salt, this plant has been struggling. This particular plant, I forgot what it's called. I don't know. I'll look it up. I cut it down at least once during the summer so it can rebloom, and it works. So I might cut it down again. Otherwise, if it looks pretty decent after I pull all the weeds, I'll leave it until fall, and then I cut it all the way down. These are the milkweeds that got chopped down by the RC cars, and they actually did recover pretty well. I'm leaving them. But for the butterfly's sake. Even though I'm not particularly too keen on how they look right here by my mailbox. But as long as I get the other stuff, maybe it won't look so out of place. But my neighbor has them. He has them around his tree. He actually gave me some seeds for them. I haven't put them down yet because I was like, you know, they're not the prettiest looking things, but there's a reason for it, and they are native to my area. My grass is super wet, so when it pours, my whole driveway going into here and all in here, it's like it's a pool. It is a pool. It's someone's dog or someone, tennis ball. And get these weeds. One could think it's so easy to pull weeds after it's been raining. Woo! Look, scared me. Cicada shell. Our big 17-year, the 17 and the 13-year cicadas are out. Ugh, still scarred from that. I always have garbage in my yard, whether it blows in or from my family knocking stuff out of the car and not picking it up. And the weeds that come from my neighbor's side, I'm gonna have to do something about that too. Ooh, this grass is it's just laying down. It doesn't seem like it's long, but it is. All right, let me see if I even have enough gas. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to start with this side because me and my neighbor, I have told him I don't know how many times, and there is some sort of a language barrier, but not enough where he understands what the hell I'm saying. He cuts his grass way too low. And even though he's better than the previous people as far as the weeds and things like that, because he's been trying to control it, it still is just, it introduces weeds. We have a property line, and I keep telling him that tree, like on that side, that's my property. I keep asking him, please don't cut my grass. That's when I turn to a Karen. But I'm going to do this side because he's going to be due up to cut his lawn, and I don't want to give him a reason to come over to my side. Because the grass is so high, I mulch my grass. I don't know if you can see me. I don't pick it up, I leave it for fertilizer. And because it's so high, it's in clumps, so I'm going to go back with the leaf blower and try to thin it out so it doesn't kill the grass.
Front door got rotted, like the bottom, so I cut out a patch.
Ooh. Oh. I was yapping with my neighbor for 20 minutes. Oh, I have like 45 minutes left for me to record. So I'm going to just go ahead and do this and not record because I've done wasted so much time. And I'm going to hit you back. Okay, I did everything I set out to do. I mowed, looks so much better, but I already knew I had the weed in here, but I hadn't been on the side of the house, and it's just daunting, the weeds that I have to pull up, the clover that's grown in between my plants and the weeds, and squirrel moment. I don't have to worry about hummingbird feeders. I have found that they love nasturtiums and my hosta flowers, so forget ever doing hummingbird feeders. I don't need to. Anyway, cutting down my bushes is just, looking at this, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, all the weeds that have grown up. What I set out to do is done, and I'm not gonna let that get to me right now. It's just gonna have to be for another day. I do want to spray my weeds, and usually I would have weed and feed my front yard twice, and I have not done that so far. And I'm gonna cut it out here. Accountability. Next video I'm gonna show you my doom pile I got going on upstairs for me cleaning up and organizing upstairs. But anyway, friend, thank you for hanging with me today. And until next time, bye.